All right, we are on the downhill slide with this little feller, and hopefully we can, wrap it up. We're gonna get started on that right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. This is the 1020 John Deere. It's pretty well back together. However, there are some things we're going to address whilst I still have this apart. Namely, he wanted his gas gauge working, if possible. And so we're going to have to do some checking here. His charging system is none too great. It just does not put out enough, That's, in life, you find yourself in that situation sometimes where things don't put out as much as you'd want. But I'm also going to change some stuff while we're in here. I'm going to shorten his battery cable quite a bit, because this super long battery cable, that ain't doing it for me. I think we can do that relatively simply. Hopefully he's not mad at me for doing this, but I can't think of any reason why someone would want an extremely way too long 4-foot battery cable when literally all you need is, we'll give a little extra, but not ridiculous, Sure. We'll give him a little bit extra, but we don't need an obnoxiously long amount. I mean, look, I got enough here to make 4 battery cables for this tractor. That's too much. We'll just move his end over to this. Buddy the dog just walked by. I don't know what he's up to. Something. Sure. Now we probably need 7/16. Would be my guess. I'm not really a fan of these clamp-on ones, but hey, I've used them before too. That's life. Sometimes that's the way to go. If you don't have the crimper tool, you're in a hurry, this is the way to go. Get rid of that there. And usually what I do, I'm not saying you need to do this, but to get it to clamp better, I usually turn that feller upside down. I'll kind of push it down in that groove. Of course, now it'll probably make a fool of me on camera, but what else is new, What else is new? I'm hoping to deliver this to him this week. However, I'm going to have to wait on those knobs now. We'll talk about that in a minute again, but gear shift knobs that broke. Sure. All right. Now, since that's the ground cable, doesn't really matter if it leans against there too much. But what I want to do here is just check and see if our fuel gauge is actually getting power, because that's one thing I questioned when we looked at it. And of course, with the angle it is, I'm getting 11.7 volts there. Right? Now if I switch this over to ground or to hot, that shows me I got ground. And it should do the same thing here. I do have ground on the back side. So I'm afraid what's happened is, I am afraid that he smoked his gauge whenever he had his electrical fire or problem, battery explosion, etc. That's what I'm betting took place. Because I grounded the sending unit the other day and nothing, the gauge didn't even try to twitch. I did hook it back up consequently, because remember I said don't let me forget to do that. So if I unhook this now and I like find some place to jam it that should be ground, like this here. Alright. Now if I turn the key on, which I can't reach from here. Well, sure. You see, there is no action whatsoever of that gauge. So, we're kind of hosed there. I could just go ahead and order him a new gauge, and at that rate I think the sending unit with it would be fairly cheap, because I don't know, is that what we do? That's one thing he really wanted working. I'm also not happy with the charging. The light doesn't go all the way out. When you rev it up, it goes pretty dim. But I don't think it's putting out enough. I know it's not, because when I had the jump pack on, it tells me the voltage of everything when the alternator kicks in, and it's not really doing the thing. So I'm not real thrilled with that. But I feel like that's something he's going to have to deal with. He could take that alternator off and have it rebuilt at the local shop, and that could be something. The gas gauge, I don't know. I just feel like it would be nice for me to have that working for him, but then we got to sit and wait on it. So I'll do some looking and see how far away that stuff is, and if I can get it quickly, and then we'll go with that. But it's getting power to it, and it's the other side is a ground, so you know, and then it varies the voltage of the ground with the level of your float. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to just walk away. So where do we stand next? Well, we got a bit of a trouble with, when I was putting these boots on, one of them tore. And I guess what I decided there is I'm just going to give him those boots. And if he wants to put a better one on, he can buy one and do that. Because honestly, that is night and day better than what he had. And I think the tractor's in the shed 90% of the time, so that should keep it safe. I did order 2 new knobs. I got to get this off of there to make that happen. And then also, while we're back here, we need to figure out what we're going to do about this. The holes in this do not line up with the holes in the factory dash. And I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out. But what I'm thinking is if I drill a small, like 1/4-inch hole, it'll come out right next to that nut. And then I'll just bolt through and put a bolt. Might have to do a washer or something just to help it clamp. I don't think there's really any danger of the steering column solid enough. But what it does is it keeps the dash. It's just one more place for it to be mounted more solidly so it's not vibrating. So I'm thinking that's probably where I'm headed there. And if I do that, then really I could probably put this green panel back on. And, you know, if I decide to do the fuel gauge, I can just work through the underneath. Or I could try to take the panel off on the other side, you know. That might be easier because that's the side the gauge is on. in which case I could go ahead and put this one on. But I'm just thinking it over, trying to figure out what other things I might have missed. And I think I'm pretty good. I got the front of the hood mounted down. I don't have the back done yet. I need to start picking up my tools off of it because it's accumulated flat surface, you know. It's accumulated a bunch of stuff, and that ain't no good for nobody. So yeah, but I think our next step or order of business is simply going to be figuring out what to do about this, because I think that's pretty well it. I mean, I have got everything else tightened down as far as I am aware. It probably could use a little more hydraulic fluid. I'm sure it's not all the way that it could be. And he wants the oil changed. We need to do that yet. And we need to finally get our zip ties and whatever we need and try to tidy this up a little bit. You know, keep these hoses all together so they're not just a wad all over the place. And I think it'll be fine. It's just, yeah. It's just one of those things. But I'm thinking the first thing I'm going to do is shut the camera off and pick up some tools and try to get this sorted out a little bit better, where there's not so much stuff laying all over the place. And I'll keep enough stuff here that I can put the sheet metal back on. And I think that's where we're gonna go. I should probably hook this up one more time, even though it doesn't work. At least if I hook it up, it makes us feel good, you know. But yeah, I think that we're on the downhill slide here, friends. All right, so I started putting tools away, and then, you know, ADD kicked in, butterfly flew by, that sort of thing. And now I'm putting hood retaining latches on, or bolts. That's one of the things that was in the pile as I was picking stuff up. And I thought, hey, hood latches, or hood straps, or I don't know what your technical term would be for these. But I do know one thing. He didn't have all the bolts in his when I took it apart, so I need to contribute to the cause here and put one in that hole. And then this back one is actually the one that does your hood retention. And I'm sure this isn't going to work like I want. I'm sure that I'm going to struggle. I've already dropped, you know, the ratchet 15 times. So, you know how that goes. There, it kind of feels like we're in the neighborhood, but we're not. It's under too much tension. See, that's doing nothing. Let's try to, or not. Well, I didn't even break you. What's the matter with me? I mean, see, something ain't right here. And I'm not sure what it is, but like right now, I can't get it to pivot back. Why can't I do that now? There. I really need to get this back one started in that strap. Because if I don't, actually, I got a better idea. Give up. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm having too much fun dropping the ratchet 14 times. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try to get this loose again, because apparently now it has become one with the tractor. It doesn't want to play nice. I'm going to take this loose, and I'm going to put the longer one in the back, because it's got more stuff to go through, see? And if I do that, in theory, all my problems in life will be over. You know, see, I can shove that all the way through till there. And of course we're gonna struggle. We're gonna struggle. Man, I don't know why we're struggle busting it so bad though today. Let's see if we can start this one. These worked so easy in my hand when I had them off of the tractor. Now you put them in the tractor and you can't hardly get a thing to go. There. Now I'm started in it. Sure. Okay. Let's make sure those are all tight still. We've tamed one side. Oh, all right. I think I got both of these started. Well, good luck next guy who's taking those loose. That'll probably end up being me someday, you know. But everything's put together the way it's supposed to be now. So 2 bolts in that, and then when you take the hood off, you only take out the back one, and life's grand. So, sure, I guess I've procrastinated about enough. It's probably about time to deal with that dash, you know. I put it off. I'm still cleaning. I need to take a good chunk of this away. All these extra bolts we didn't end up needing are the old ones that came out of it, so put that away. There's some stuff we can save, put in the service truck, like this gasket we didn't use. I don't know what's in there. Shouldn't be anything in there. Should just be an empty piece of trash. But there's some stuff that belongs in the service truck that has gotten covered with garbage. That needs put away. This can go in the service truck. Extra hose clamps can go in there. Just odds and ends to pick up. And then I think we should be down to, like, we need to figure out which bolts are for what. I'm pretty sure, like, that goes there. That's a mate to it. So that probably goes there. Then there's 2 more. And I don't remember where this long one goes, but I want to say it was one of those 2 there. Although that could be false too. It could really be that it was, see, this goes in here somehow or other, like this. And I would say that one was in there. And then of course our other piece of metal somehow goes through there. Not exactly sure. Oh yeah, it just has a fork as well, so it slid probably behind that, if I remember. So we'll deal with that after a while. But we need 2 for there. And then there's 1 that goes down from the top. And I'm thinking that one of these was missing a bolt. And it was probably maybe that one. It looks like that hasn't had anything in it for a while. But I might be wrong. Alright, I think I got a goodly selection of stuff here. I drilled my holes through there. And it looks like my finger meter was right on the money, because if I stick my bolt through, it comes right next to the original. And I think that'll be fine. I'll just, what I'm gonna do is put a washer on there. Boy, this just is not gonna be good footage for you. I apologize, but I don't know that this is even necessary, but I think it's nice to have this little bit of help, maybe. I might be wrong, but the old foreign parts strike again, you know, the holes don't line up, so you just got to do what you got to do to make her go. Ooh, that that did an interesting thing. Custom bend, but that's okay. It'll be fine. It's still doing what it's supposed to, which is just hold the two pieces together. That's all I'm after, just a little extra support. And this one, I may not even be able to get in there and do that. Now, there's a complex math problem taking place back here or something, because I'm not. Okay. Awesome. It's gonna struggle. And it's gonna make me struggle. Oh, friends. Okay, I think we're good on this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this panel back in. It's coming back to me now what I have to do here. It's not straightforward. You gotta take the battery bolt, or the battery lid nut has to come loose, because it actually, that, I don't know, it hooks around that, what I'm saying. So there's a procedure, you know. I gotta take this out of the way. This goes behind there. Somehow or another. It's making me struggle, if that wasn't apparent. No, no, get off of there. I guess you won't play along till I totally disassemble it. Okay, well, see that little doohickey goes there. We'll worry about that in a minute. Now I got to get these two behind here, while at the same time, this is like the rub your stomach while you pat your head type situation. Yeah, that's what's happening here. Okay, that goes there, like that, kind of. And we're gonna have to, that is weird, but okay, I'll go along with it. You'll see what I mean in a minute. The body line doesn't really match up there, but I guess that's the way it is. I forgot to take that dent out. I was going to hammer that out for him. Should I do that? Even though I've already got it almost all the way together? Yeah, that's the right thing to do. So, sure. Would have been nice if I wasn't an idiot, you know, and forget things. But that is the way she goes. Also, I need to go get I have the perfect washer for there in the service truck. I didn't bring it with me a minute ago because I thought I don't need that, but I do. So take two in a second. Okay, take two on this. Got the dent pulled out. Sure would be nice if this would cooperate now, but I don't imagine that it will. It's gonna make me really work. But this has to go between those two plates, which it's not wanting to do now. Why are you not wanting to do that? That's okay. I've been thwarted before by sadness. We are going to put this fold in here. Maybe. We really need to put this one on here so we don't lose it, because it's something kind of special. That don't want to play nice. Why for you know want to play nice? Get in there. Get in there. No need to work correctly. Let's struggle as hard as we can. There, that's started. I figure if I can get a lot of them started, this will go together a lot easier than if I just hope for the best. So these two, yeah. You hang out there. See if I can get that to jump over. And of course, you're right in the way again. Why are we struggling? So, well, probably because we're not that smart. There's that. Did that help this side? It did. So that's cool. Come on, John. Let's go together, pal. Let's go together, pal. I don't know. Is it gonna go? There we go. That one's gonna go. That one's gonna go. Let's get these other two started. The bottom one is started, but the top one I'm kind of skeptical. Like I said, I'm not sure. I don't remember if it was really in there or not when I took it apart. I think it's gonna go. I don't know about this. This is kind of goofy that they made it stick out past the body line of the tractor, but that's what it's got to do because your throttle linkage goes through the cutout in it. I don't know if that's evident on camera or not. I never know what you can see. I never see what happens until editing, and then it's too late a lot of times, you know. I hope that was the sound of not the thing twisting off, because we don't want to deal with that. All right, so finish these off. Battery cable's still hooked up. We'll start it here in a minute, but I'd say I can work on it right where it is. There's a couple more little things I want to do to it. And I'll decide whether I really want to, if I want to tackle Gage or not. Kind of feel like that's something he could probably do if it really bothers him. I can tell him what I found, and then, all right. All right, we're gonna say that's all tight. Let's put this back in. How about that? That's smooth again, pretty good. All right. So that took care of that all. Now, our next affair in this apparatus, remember that day of sadness? Yeah, we're gonna chuck that behind us. The next thing we're gonna do is I suppose we will wheel the torch over here, and we will very, very gently, on very low heat, heat the tip of that gear shift up, and then get that screwed off of there. You see, the ball broke off around it, and this just won't budge. So if I heat this up, I should be able to turn that off of there, and then it will be ready to just slap the new ball on as soon as it shows up here. And then, whilst I have the torch, I'm going to switch to the high heating tip, and I'm going to try to heat and bend back some of these tines. They're not going to hold when you do that. The temper goes out of them, but just having them straight ahead is going to be easier than having one folded over on itself. So if I can possibly do that to help him out. I can't replace them, because if I do that, then I'm going to start having to cut into the bucket. And that's an avenue I don't want to go down right now. We're going to send this back like it is, and he can live with it for a while and decide if he wants to, you know, he can always decide to spend more on it later, and I can go get it again. But I'd rather he try it out and decide that he's happy with it and whatnot. So I'm going to wheel the torch over here and very gently see what I can do. And probably what would be the smart thing to do is to flip the seat back up like I had it yesterday, which consequently is hard to do from the ground. It's a lot easier to do, especially when you've been using it all the time, and this one's never been really done. There we go. All right, for this first thing, I'm just going to use the regular torch tip, because I don't need a humongous flame. Just a gentle flame, if we can make that happen. Always point your flame towards the flammable gas tank, you know. We don't want to hit anything new, because we don't want to have to replace it. So I'm just gonna do this kind of deal here, and quite honestly, I should probably get you far away so I don't accidentally come by with the torch and ruin you, because that's very possible that I could do something dumb like that. Well, that's glowing, so in theory that ought to come loose in a minute. It'd be better to let it sit and cool, or you could just clamp on it and go to town, you know. There is a slight time when it's heated enough, expanded enough, that you can turn it off easy, and then it'll get to a point where it's tight again, and then if you let it totally cool, then it usually turns off easy. But you kind of got a narrow window sometimes in what you can do and not do. But I got this one licked. It's loose, it's off of there. I gotta remember not to grab a hold of it, dummy. That's how you do something stupid. Yeah, see, it's starting to cool down enough now that it's getting harder to turn. So I gotta watch what I'm doing. Alright, that's off of there. Let's figure out somewhere to put it where it won't be a problem. Now that was painlessly, yeah. Will it start? Battery's dead. Of course. So we're gonna jump pack it. Oh, I've done this enough times. I meant to put the battery charger on it today, but that didn't happen. That's all it took. Yeah, see, it just says 11.8. it's not charging. But that's okay. All I was after here was I want to raise that up to some level where I can work on it. I think that's about right. I can clamp on this and heat that up and try to pull that back around. All right, we'll let that sit. And you're about out of battery, but I guess I'll show you the end result tomorrow. I'm going to take this tip off and switch to the rosebud, I guess you'd call it. But the tip that's job is only to heat things and make them liquid. So yeah. All right, the sun's setting on us, but I got to show you what I got into. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to figure out his bucket problem. I got the tine bent back over, but it needs to come out. And I have asked people, I called the guy who used to be the dealer for these. He said those tines are supposed to be pinned in, and I couldn't figure out any way that they were. So I decided to torch a hole through here, which I don't like, but I can weld that back shut, to see how they're made. And when I did that, it did show me what to do. The tines have a notch in them, and in that notch is this square piece, which was welded solid on this end, or what I'm assuming probably happened if it wasn't made that way from the factory is it kept working its way out and somebody was tired of it and welded the end shut. The other end doesn't look as bad. It had dirt and stuff on it, but I think that it will probably come loose because it looks like sides all around. So I'm going to try to drive on that, and if I can get that rod drove out, I can get all the tines out and straighten the ones that are good in the press, and then make it where he can get new ones made if he wants, you know. And I'll make a new rod maybe that has bolts in each end, so you can just knock it back out, take the bolts loose, and get it out. So that's my plan. Will I succeed? Probably not. I probably just cost myself a bunch more time that I don't have, but I know that's something that bothered him, and it was kind of, I wanted to know too. I just had to know how it was made, and unless I would have ground on that, I never would have found that because it was pretty well welded over. So I'm going to see if that'll do it, but this might be enough footage for this video, so I'd say we're just going to leave this one here. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.